Nicodemus, Demon of Evanishment, is the newest virtual reality attraction from The Void, a company that combines VR technology with physical sets and effects to create uniquely immersive experiences. Led by the sibling team of Tracy and Curtis Hickman, The Void previously used this approach on 2016's Ghostbusters Dimensions. Nicodemus, Demon of Evanishment takes the concept even further. The interactive haunted house, which opened at Glendale Galleria in time for Halloween 2018, depends more on the actions of its participants, whose experiences vary according to the choices they make. Also, Nicodemus is very much scarier than Ghostbusters. Hollywood Gothic recently sat down with Tracy and Curtis Hickman to discuss The Void's approach to creating a virtual reality haunted house experience.
The Void started off as kind of an experiment. The idea of pairing the virtual world with the physical world was brought up by one of my co-founders, James Jensen, who both of us have worked in visual effects for a long time, and it just made sense that if you could do that on a production stage, why couldn't you just combine that with VR and really make something out of it? Nobody had really done it before, at least when we were trying it. The tracking technology we used was very primitive, and we just built a single wall and kind of made a loop around it using magnetic tracking, which was terrible. Especially since we were tracking the HMD, and the HMD creates its own magnetic field, which meant that everything got really weird really quick. But it was enough to convince us that there was something there. We built a stage, and that's where I started designing in all these illusions and sort of designing kind of how the experiences would play out. And sure enough, after just a couple months, we knew we really had something. That was back when we made Ghostbusters, is when I stumbled upon that. Because it was originally, we were only doing The Void with 2 people, which was great. I mean, you have an interaction there. So I said, let's try 3 people. And they'll never work. They'll just bump into each other, you know. So we put 3 people in there, and it worked. I said, we're going to do 4 people. So they'll never work. They'll never bump into it. And put 4 people in, work great. Which is awesome for Ghostbusters, by the way, right? They have an actual full team of Ghostbusters. And then they said, okay, let's put a 5th person in. It did not work.
We worked very closely with Ivan Reitman, and especially with this new incarnation with Dan Akroyd.
We wanted to try a couple experiments. We wanted to, how would like a seasonal piece do? So that was a big check mark on our list. We wanted to just try something scary, because we know that through experience that you can create very impactful reactions, very big reactions through fear, because you can do just about anything. And when you start combining that anything with the tactile nature of the Void, things get very real very quickly, and you know, there's things we've had to back off from and try and find a balance of mood and atmosphere and mystery and puzzle solving with just scaring people.
And sometimes it's even a question of where to put the silence. Because in this virtual environment there is so much to take in. And because it's something that you experience as a group, we want to make sure that you have that silence in which you can speak, that you can react with each other and interact with each other in the space as well as the environment. Evoking story in the Void space is very much at the heart of what we do. It's a new language of story, because for the first time in history we have shattered that 4th wall, and we're asking you to be at the center of what's going on. So we don't talk about telling story in the Void, we talk about experiencing story in the Void, and how does our guest experience their own personal story in the Void space, the story that they're going to tell when they leave.
I worked in designing and working with immersive theater for years before The Void, learned so much of, I think, what we do comes from that. I look at it this way, right? if I go to an immersive show, Sleep No More, or one of these big shows, they're fantastic and they do a great job. But there's a huge limit as to the amount of interaction that can be done with the actual guest, because there's only so much you can do with the number of people that you have there to do it. And you can only, you're limited by physics and by the reality of the situation and the sets that you can build and the budget that you have. What's been amazing about The Void is to give everybody a bit of agency as part of that story, and to make everybody feel like an intimate part of the experience, and to take them out of reality and put them in a place where things that aren't possible feel real. And I feel, frankly, very blessed to be given this canvas to work on, to give these experiences that I think people crave, these adventures, and provide them in a way that is magical.